Shorewood Park Sanitary District meeting to order. We're going to start off with roll call. I'm Rich Stork and I'm the chair.
I'm Dean Findell, treasurer.
Matt Anderson, board member.
Al Powers, member.
Sue Means, board member.
Tina Heidelberger, secretary clerk.
All right. First order of business is to, I would imagine everybody's had a chance to kind of go over the unapproved minutes from last meeting. I don't see any corrections that need to be taken care of right off the top here. Does anybody else have any comments on the unapproved minutes?
I think the old business expansion numbers were, request was 2.3 million, I believe, and we're asking for 440,000 now.
Okay, I can have that.
So it's not a big change, but
Let me do that though.
Is there any other corrections?
What was the amount again? We're asking for,
originally it was 2.3 million,
okay,
and now it's 440,000.
okay, all right, thank you. I'll make that update.
That 440 is the balance, the shortfall from the federal.
Right, right.
Okay, to balance that budget that we have. Perfect. All right, with that being said, I'm looking for a motion to approve the unapproved minutes from March.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I
Aye. All right, those minutes are approved. All right, very nice, very nice. I'm gonna wait for Terry a little bit. He did say he was coming tonight. He said 4 minutes out, so I'll probably just move right into, jump around. We'll talk about chairman updates. A lot hasn't gone on this month. It was kind of a quiet month. I think me and Al moved forward with putting the mailbox in, and we kind of failed on that a little bit. We have to move it back and readjust with help from Joe. We set the post based on, I did some measurements and tried to line it up with the edge of the road, but that was just a little bit too close, so.
Yeah, he didn't take a second opinion.
So we're in the process of, we'll get her moved back. We should probably try to get that up and in here before the end of the week, I would hope, would probably be a good goal.
I did order today 3-inch letters for the side, or numbers, sorry, for
Okay.
the side of the mailbox also to put up.
All right, how about numbers for the shed itself?
Those I'll have to order. I'll have to get those still.
Okay,
Because I'm gonna do, I don't know if we just want I just ordered them off Amazon, the stickers for the other thing. But I'll I'll get the ones for the actual pump house as well, so we can get them on this weekend. We'll have them probably next day anyway,
I
so.
don't know if we want to put them on a board and then mount the board, we'll look at that.
Compost and
Kind of figure
mailbox
that
are the
out.
same.
Yep.
Okay. All right, other than that, I was chasing down some emails, answering some questions. It was really quiet with Chris Ziegler. He was sick. He's our map help. We were kind of on hold until we had our address from the power company. Do we have a new bill, Tina?
Not yet.
Really, that's a holdup then, huh? Can we follow up on that?
Yeah.
That's a big holdup
Yeah.
on that. So we're looking for a power bill or a utility bill that actually shows a new address on it. And that's our holdup on moving forward with our grant money. As silly as that sounds, but that's a hurdle that we have to get over, and that's what we're waiting for. We were hoping to see that by, mid-month last month, but we're still on hold. There was one trip down to the legislature. I met Becky and Tim Corby and who's our new county commissioner? Dan Dahlberg. We met them. I met them down at the State House. I think it was last Monday. I had some time, and there was a meeting set up during that snowstorm. So we met with Senator Rorick, and there was some really good positive feedback from him and where the bill sits for the balance of that 440. They seem very positive now that the numbers have jumped down from 2 million down to that, 440,000. There is money available that was kind of earmarked last year, but things got twisted around. So it was a real good, positive conversation, so, no promises, but, very, very positive, so.
Did you get to talk to Representative Nelson also?
No, that is set up for actually up here on the 9th.
Okay.
So that meeting is still set up, is that correct?
19th.
The 19th of this month? I'll double check on an email. And I could probably look from Becky here. But there is another meeting set up here on I think it's a Friday afternoon. And I can get that information out, or I'll have Becky shoot that information out. Sue, you reserved the room. Do you remember when that was?
I believe it was the 19th. Whatever Becky wanted, Becky got.
Yeah, of course. I can probably find it if I look hard enough for it here. I know there was some concerns that, some of the stuff had to get in before last Friday, but that wasn't true. As far as the ask for this money, there was no deadlines on that. So that was some concern of some of the residents, but we're still holding our own. Like I said, everything sounds pretty positive. There is another meeting set up. Let's see, by Friday. I'm sorry, I wish I was a little bit more organized for that, but I'll have to follow up as far as when that's going to be. But it's coming up here in April. Other than that, it was a pretty quiet month, which I appreciate. So that's really all I have for the chairman's report. Are there any questions? Good, very good. Oh, here's the big star of the show, Terry with our wastewater operator update.
I've never been called this started before. Things are good, quiet. Weird thing for last month because the first was the lowest and the 31st was the highest for the month.
Well,
31st makes sense for Easter, but
yeah.
10.9 on the 31st and 63.80 on the first.
So the peak, even after all that weather, was only right around 10,000,
Yeah.
almost 11,000,
Almost 11,000. Yeah.
11,000 gallons.
Well, I kind of looked for today too, and it was no higher than what it was Sunday. So
All right,
81.75 is what it's averaging a day.
that's really well. And what we're talking about for George is this is the amount of water or wastewater that we can pump to our ponds on a daily basis. We're regulated by the MPCF, how much influent can come from our sewage and go towards a pond. And we're regulated by, we're allowed, our permit is written for 15,000 gallons. So we just kind of try to keep an eye on that and see where we're averaging. So even being in the spring, we typically see higher numbers with I&I and
It's not, I mean, that fix we did was a lot of it, I think.
I think,
But I think there's still some more out there.
yeah,
But, I mean, the number is staying pretty constant right now.
yeah, sounds good. And then how did it go for, you did some transferring, right?
Yep, transferred off the first pond to the secondary settling, and I did discharge for 2 days.
Okay. So we have discharge too?
Yep,
Okay, sounds good.
I'll probably let it go here another 6 weeks and transfer another batch.
Okay.
And maybe do one more, we'll see. But we came through the winter good. She worked a lot. My first winter going through it to see what it did, it worked out fine, so.
Okay, all right. There were some MTBL numbers and stuff, you were able to get all that information you
Yep.
need? All right,
Yep.
sounds good. Anything else?
Well,
We want to talk about any PMs that we're thinking about here this spring? I know we kind of held off on the discharge pipe. Do we want to put that back on the
yeah,
radar?
once the weather straightened out, I was going to plan on sneaking out there and getting that taken care of.
Okay,
Because it was approved and stuff to do it last fall, and just ran out of time.
right.
Just try to keep investigating, see if we can find stuff. I know when you check that manhole down on the flat down that we sealed up last year, that seems to be holding. Nothing inflowing there, nothing, so it's getting there.
So yeah, so you're just going to pull
Stuff looks
around a
good.
little bit? You don't think we need to do any videoing or anything like that this year, you think?
Maybe a little cleaning on that, what's the word here, which way? The north end. We didn't finish all that stuff down, we haven't, we only did what we did, so
Yeah.
if you guys want to do some more, just let me know, and we'll run down and clean some more of it.
That north manhole is covered up again. I
Oh,
don't
the
think,
one, the very north one there?
yeah, where Rushway kind
Yeah.
of turns. I don't think, when Lonegren's tied in, Ertz was supposed to fix Rushway, I don't think he ever tarred that up.
No, I think it was still fall, or dirt last fall. I
Right,
just haven't
so-
paid attention to it lately.
You know, I know one of the holdups was that we were supposed to put a ring in there,
Yeah,
and then I remember the contractor that they hired to do that road, Ertz had come in. I don't think that ever finished, so now our manhole's covered again with dirt. Another thing I'd like to do is take a look at that, just based on the way that they came into that manhole. You know, with
Okay,
that
yeah.
high pressure, we should just kind of keep an eye on that.
yeah. Could be you know, if it wasn't sealed up right when they threw it in there, you know, there could be some inflow on that too, but
Right.
I'll pop it up there next time over there with the tools and open it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's temporary until we get the new system,
Yeah,
and we'll correct it.
temporary, 20 years maybe.
Yeah. No, I
And that's how
think,
you gotta look at it too, is you,
yeah,
you should always look for it for the long range instead of, you know, this only gonna be for a couple years, because
yeah.
a couple years comes and goes, and
Well, if that's the case, then so they just brought a 2-inch PVC pipe into that manhole?
No, actually, they core drilled,
Yeah.
they core drilled 1.5 inches, and it's a high pressure main from his holding.
It's only 1.5 inches.
Yep,
Yeah.
because it's high pressure.
I'm
They were
surprised it's
gonna
not 1.25 inches.
actually, it is 1.25
Yeah,
inches.
it should be 1.25 inches, and they want that for scouring, so when that pump kicks in, it actually cleans the pipe out and stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be bigger than that, and they went down 1.25 inches. But our biggest concern was, if they didn't get low enough, it'll shoot right into the side of the manhole and wear it, instead of getting down into the weirs. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's just something we should keep an eye on.
I guess that's what I'm saying, why don't we extend that pipe and get it down into shoot it right into the pipe? You know, instead of letting it swirl. in.
Letting it swirl. I do have good pictures of it, and it did seem that it was down low enough that it was gonna shoot pretty much right into the 8. But our main goal, I mean, it is, how long would it take to deteriorate that manhole? We'd be whole.
A long time, but we could just put a saddle basically on the side of that, and it captures and just drops it straight down then.
Yeah,
It's a pretty simple fix.
yeah. Let's just take a look at it
Okay?
and see if, you know, we need to be concerned about it. It's only been there a
One
year.
house on there would never, ever
Yeah.
deteriorate enough that,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's the only one that's gonna be on it, and that'll get repaired once we do the expansion, so.
And on the things like that too, we try to avoid that particular reason, because if we happen to be in there working on it, and there's no way to shut that off, things get ugly pretty quick.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be down in that hole then. You know, I seen that there was an expansion on Rushway 2. There was nothing brought up that they were gonna change the sewer. You know, if we're gonna look at that run up there, up to that north, we should kind of take a look to see if they did get into our system. There was no permits or anything pulled for that, so.
Okay.
But there was a pretty good sized expansion done over the winter time. So I assumed they just tied into their existing main drain. Nothing was ever said. But if we have to do our research, let's just be aware of it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have anything else on the sewer side. Any other questions? Anybody? Oh, I love it. Good, let's move on to the financial. Where are we at?
Current checking account balance as of today was $84,535.97. I will email out the updated budget. I didn't quite finish it before we met. And I'll post it at the pump house. But spending has been pretty minimal since January 1st. We really haven't had, the only thing that we've really had for expense-wise since the beginning of the year was quality flow, which was last month of $593.48. And then our renewal for QuickBooks, we spent some money there. And then safety deposit box and just paper and ink. So I mean, really overall, we have not done a ton of spending outside of wages and LJJ. Other than that, we haven't had any outstanding
What was the
expenses.
quality flow on?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
That was the one that we had decided.
Oh, that's
wasn't
right.
hard.
Yes,
That
thank you. That was the
what-
one that we didn't pay
Yeah,
because it
that
was
one had
supposed
to
to
go
go
to the
to.
city of Shorewood, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, because I think I sent you a text and thing.
Yes, that was the one from last month where we said to not pay it. I apologize, yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up too, so. We did approve a bill, and we should probably make that correction on that the minutes.
Yep,
Because it does say we approve the quality flow bill.
yep, I'll
Maybe
fix
we
that
should-
quick right now.
We should probably eliminate that because they basically said just throw that bill away.
Yeah.
I think it says so on the bottom of that,
Yep,
except for,
Except for quality flow.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then even you have a note in here that that bill should have been sent to Dennis Wood.
yep.
That's not a true statement.
Well, and I didn't have to send it anywhere. Is that, it wasn't supposed to go to Denny?
No, what had happened is that bill came to us and it was
Okay.
for the city of Shorewood, not Shorewood City Park.
Oh, okay,
Or
okay.
sanitary district. So they basically, and Quality Flow couldn't remember how to get a hold of me, so they contacted Terry to say, just throw that bill away, disregard,
Okay,
because it was it shouldn't have came to us, it wasn't our bill.
all right, so I've updated that as well.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect. Good, I'm glad we're talking about these things, clean that up. So we don't have any other bills this month then? or-
the only bills that we have this month so far are East Central Energy, which is 187.41, LJJ, and then I have a reimbursement for the QuickBooks Online, which is $45 a month. So,
Okay.
other than that, there's no other current bills.
And then on that ECE bill, it doesn't, it just has our PO box on it.
It's our old, yep, yep.
All right. Do we need to make another phone call, you think?
Yep, I'll make a call tomorrow, I'll have it, I just added it to my list of things to do.
All right. As far as LJJ and wastewater, did you get a chance to send over, did you guys talk contract?
I emailed Debbie today, actually, because I remembered when I was going, I didn't remember until today when I read through minutes, and I was like, oh, shoot, I was supposed to contact her. So I did send an email to you guys asking about contract renewal, that we're interested in having you guys present us with a new contract.
Oh, okay.
And then an updated certificate of limited liability. So I sent that email to her today, so
Okay.
she probably hasn't even seen it, I'm sure
I
yet.
seen it for 10 minutes, she didn't say nothing more, so.
Okay, well, there you go. But yes, and I did, on that note with the certificate of limited liability, at our meeting last month, we talked about with Rasmussen.
Yes.
I did send him an email, and he did actually just today send me that, so I have the new updated certificate of limited liability from him.
So we're good, up to date with it?
Yep, we're up to date on all of them.
All right, so Terry, I don't know if you recall, the contract that we had was only for 1 year, so this is your opportunity to go through it again.
Well, if I ain't gonna change nothing, if you're happy, I'm happy, so.
That's what I like to hear.
But we were talking about a longer term of possibly 3 years, where we.
No,
is
why
that-
don't you, yeah, I think she shot it off in the email, you
Yep.
suggested something.
Okay, okay, I wanna go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd like to tie it down for this price for 15
Why?
years, if that's okay.
Actually, we held the one for Peckham, I've held that one probably for, I think I'm in the 5th or 6th year on that one now.
I'd be happy with that. But I'll let you look that over and you can kind of get back to us on that. So, sounds good. I think we could kind of, you've got the reimbursement for 45, you talked about that.
Yep.
We want to circle back to investment fund. Dean, is there any other information on that?
I haven't gotten a new statement yet, but one clarification I noticed on the last statement is a CD, certificate of deposit. So when you're talking about values and stuff, the 198 approximately money is there, and always will be until it gets closed out at the end of 2027, so. So it's just a clarification, because I didn't know if it was a fund or what, but it just said under
It's a
the
CD.
information, it was a CD, so.
Okay. All right.
Can I get an approval then for the bills as long as we're on that?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'll approve those bills.
One second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the bills. We'll circle back to, I briefly talked about the expansion. Dean, is there anything else that you want to add to it, or kind of where we're sitting right now?
Just Becky keeps sending emails to have everybody email the legislators, and I sent mine off last week, and hopefully other people have been doing that too, to try to get that $440,000, so.
And that'd be huge. You know, our lawyer, Kevin, is still contacting the old representative or the old legal firm. I think the biggest hangup right now is easements. We may need to revisit easements probably once the process starts. It's not gonna hold us up, but, you know, depending on the design, that might change what we're talking for easements. So we might have to go through that process again.
Right. I believe I have copies of the easements that I took when we got them,
Okay.
but I only have copies, not the originals, so I don't know where they went to. So
Well, if you have those copies,
I do have copies, I think all of them, but.
let's try to get them together, and if we can shoot them over to Kevin, that might help him try to piece the puzzle together.
Okay.
Because he's still piecing the puzzle, and he's, you know, he's reached out to Chad, and Chad hasn't responded to him, so he just shot another email today and tried to shake the leaves again a little bit, just to try to button up the work that he was supposed to do last time around. So, he's still working on it, and I do appreciate Dan and, Kevin and what he's doing for us for sure. So if you can get that information, that might help him too a little bit. Tina, there was one other thing that we should probably get together with him too, is we want to kind of nail down exactly where we are with the assessments too.
Okay.
So I don't know if we want to set up a separate meeting with Kevin. I don't know if you've been following some of the emails, the one that just popped today.
Yep.
You know, and it might be a meeting with the county and with him, just to see where we're balancing out on all the assessments, because I know that's going to come up too. And he wants to get that clarified for us. Some paid, some haven't, some are still paying. I mean, the ones that haven't are paying, but some that, I just like to know where the book balance is out as we start continuing to move forward. Other than that, you know, the expansion is, you know, continue to work on getting the funding. Once we get that funding, you know, there was some loose conversation with Tim when I was with him on Monday. We are like I would say our plans are like at 70%. There will be some additional engineering going on to, you know, to true them up a little bit before they go into bid. But until we really solidify where we're at with the fundings, we won't move any further than continue to work on that $15,000 contract we got going with Tim right now. That's the expansion update. Sue, I see you have something here for the channel. I'm going to kind of zip that down to new business, because that's kind of really what it is at this point in my mind. I'm going to kind of buzz back through some other things that we should probably talk about. It is the time to really probably start dialing in roads. We should probably talk about what process we want to go through this year to survey the roads. Do we have any ideas on how we want to move forward? I think I was going to pass a number on to Al for Premier, and it might be just a phone call with him.
Yeah, phone call,
Yep.
give me the number and I'll set up a meeting with them, we'll take a drive around
Okay.
and do some assessments.
All right, is there anybody that wants to help Al with that little project?
I can do that, Rich.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, so I'll get Al our favorite road guy, and then we'll get him out there. Now, we're gonna go from our old budget to work with, correct, Tina? We
Yes.
budgeted how much for the roads again this year?
29,000. We'd set aside 29,000 for roads, repair, maintenance, and then 10,000 for plowing is what our budgeted was.
Okay. Now, I know we're not gonna dip into plowing, so if we run into a problem, that's something we could talk about, but let's just try to stay at the 29.
Okay.
Now that, we'll just get the survey and we'll see where we're at, depending on what he has. We'll talk about, I don't know, just doing potholes. I don't know if that's the correct fix. I almost think we should go apron to apron when we do a fix.
Those seem to be holding well, but
Yeah. You know, even if they're a 2-foot apron to apron, but when we just do the potholes, they're the ones that seem to,
Yeah, it's because water gets underneath them. And the sun worked for the state
Yeah.
with the road repairs we ran crews. You get water underneath all that stuff, and it just, the potholes just come out.
yeah. So, I mean, we'll talk about, you know, try to avoid just the pothole fixes, we'll go even, if it's a bad area, take more out than we need to, and we kind of, I think if we do a better job, it limits how many times we have to go back at them. Any other suggestions on roads? You know,
I think you should probably look at some of the culverts around there, a lot of them are getting filled in. That one by the pump house has got brush all up by it. Yeah, it's just something I see, Rich.
okay. Now, it is, and when we say the culverts, I know that some of them are, we do have some road repair, like over some of the culverts.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm not, I was more talking about the entrance of the culverts.
Is that something we want Premier to do, or is that something we want to,
I mean, this guy right here.
or do we talk to Terry to go around and Jones?
Well,
You know, have Jones?
it's just something I think should be built into the road,
Right.
budget is taking care of those culverts.
There's sand in them or?
Sand and then they're just getting grown water.
I don't even know how many we have, quite
I just
frankly.
know that one by the pump house is darn near flood.
Okay. I mean, the result is that we're not gonna get the water to flow, but, let's, you know, I don't know if you guys wanna look at culverts to see how many we have and maybe identify them. I mean, I don't even know how many we have, to tell you the truth. If it's something that we have to get Jones in to clean out or jet them out or whatever, if it's clean
That's
them
what we
out.
did with a lot of them, and some of the townships too, is we jetted them,
Yep,
just backed it all out, so you took the sand with us, so.
yeah, you suck on one end and
Yeah.
push on the other, that'd be an easy clean.
If it's, if they're not complete plug, or they're, the only downside of it, they got a hole in them,
Yeah.
shoot it out the hole. That kind of creates a problem.
I'd let the professional take a look at it. I think we just identify them if you see a couple, let's just, we'll try to build that in. You know, if it's a separate one-line item that we have to bring Terry in for, then we'll take care of it that way. Plowing, we had our first snow events this last 2 weeks, and it, quite frankly, we only had one complaint, and it was, they actually did miss the road, and that was the township. You know, we did get a submission, that worked out perfect from the resident that, you know, wanted to understand why that portion of the road wasn't plowed. And it was one of our pinch points down by the roll-offs. They plowed it one time, but they didn't come back a second time to clean it out, which they're required to do. And I got a hold of Muddy Gap right away, and he admitted, yep, that we missed it the second time through. So the other pinch point down by the bushes, Jim was very happy from our meeting. They did exactly what we needed to do, so. There were two positive things, you know, that were some of my concerns. It's never gonna be perfect, depending on the snowfall. Some are gonna go better than others, but overall in all, I think that was pretty well. But I don't know, do you think it's fair to ask for some sort of a receipt from the township, from Heather?
Yep, I can
And
ask.
see how plowing balanced out this year, just for historical data in the future? You know, based on the monies that they had. I know there was a couple other times they came in and took care of the main circle and then threw a little salt down instead of plowing, but that's
Yeah.
the way the winter was. I'd just like to know how much the township invested in Shorewood Park this year.
Okay.
Another thing I'd like to know, Gene, is it possible for you to get up and, you know, we went up and looked at the safe deposit box. We kind of penciled in what the documents are.
Yeah,
I'd like to know what is exactly in there. If we can get a list of that, and then we can get that document and put it somewhere safe, we can tuck it somewhere, because I have no idea. I know there's some abstracts up there, there's some certain things up there, but, you know, if I had to, if the lawyer asked me a question, I wouldn't even know what to do, or I don't know what's up there, you know. It was early in the game that we got dumped on it, so if we can kind of do inventory, what's in that safe deposit box?
I can go up to the bank and go through it
Yeah.
and make a list.
Make a list, I think we should have that. I did come across another box that showed up in the pump house, and I started going through it, and there was some information in there, and I'd like a couple of you guys to kind of go through it too. There's some good information there. I think it was the last couple of years that our past operator, there's some good information, stuff that I think we were looking for in the past, but we've kind of worked through. But it kind of gives us, you guys a little bit of an idea. And I'll probably start with Tina, I'm gonna drop it off to you.
Okay.
There was a great big file that I ran up to the lawyer, I had Al run up there, and he went through that, he did comment on it in our last email. A lot about assessments and stuff like that. There was a path, you can kind of see it was happening, it would have helped us earlier in the game, but it'll kind of give us some more historical data as we're working with MAP and where we've been. There was some good information on the League of Cities in there, so that might give us a little clarity on that too. We got an email from the property owner of the corner lot up on the corner by the Shorewood sign. I'm not too clear on what that was all about, other than he just shot you an email, right, Dean?
Right.
I kind of passed it out. He's complaining about some signs on the property. I really don't know what he's talking about, other than maybe, you know, the typical spring advertising signs that people pop in and realtor signs. And yeah, people are not supposed to put them in your yard unless you ask for it. That, you know, if they put it on private property, I can see how he's complaining. I don't like them up in the corner up there anyways. I personally pick them up and clean them up if, you know, if there's nobody's asked permission, because it does clutter. Last year it got really bad. I went and pulled like 6 signs out of there. One goes down, about 10 more get plopped in there. So I asked for a little bit more clarification, and then he hasn't responded. Then he mentioned something about posting the property and telling people to stay off property. I don't know exactly where that was. I said, go ahead and post it. There's no way for us to police his property. So I said I'd mention it. That's kind of where it's at. Unless he has anything else he wants to say about it, I'll leave it there. I don't have anything else to talk about other than we could probably circle back to, you have an update on the channel. Does it affect the sanitary district? Is there anything with the permit, or is it something you just want to mention, or?
No, I want to address, we had a meeting with the DNR and the operator. Carrie and Tim were there, and Dan and I, that was what, Friday? Friday. And based on conversation with the DNR and their regulations and how they, suggestions for us to get this channel cleared up, the process of running a extended hose and putting it into the 2 acres would be ideal. I'm here tonight as far as, I guess, representing the project to ask if Shorewood would allow us to do that. We would have it silt fenced. You know, we would pay for that. We'd have it, I think the discussion was having someone do that for
It'd be
us.
self-fenced by a licensed
Yes.
contractor.
So it would be, and then it just sits there and gets tilled. We'd have to till it into the existing soil once it dries up.
So would that be for both channels?
Yes.
So they'd be able to pipe it that far, like Joel's, and pipe it over there across the road?
Yeah, it's still in.
They'll use trash
progress,
pumps
yeah.
attached to Tony's pumping, so the contractors, the dredging contractors system, and they'll use trash pumps from there to pump it up that way. They didn't seem to think that was a problem, nobody that was there.
Would it obstruct the roadways?
It might temporarily have a hose running over the road,
But he said you could drive.
Yeah,
over
you
the
could
hole.
drive
but
over
you
there.
can drive over the hose.
Yeah,
so.
as long as
We
it's
just
not
put some warning,
something-
had to put some warning signs up or
All
something.
right, so he's got a verbal tentative plan that you guys talked about, right?
Right, we don't have anything in writing yet.
Okay, I think what we'd want to see is some sort of, I think it's a great idea. I personally don't have a problem with it. It's all organic material. I think we would put it up there, then that might give us an opportunity to turn that land over you know, and do something a little bit more with that property other than just let the weeds grow there. Some people might want to grab it for compost. I don't know, there might be a lot of different opportunities. I know when Joe had it, people were asking to come and get it. So there's a lot of opportunities that way, but I think what we should do, just to be fair to everybody, is understand exactly what the process is gonna be. And the contractor should be able to write that up, right? What his plan is, if there's gonna be road if we're gonna have road obstructions, we gotta really kind of pay attention to that.
Yep.
Is there any, you know, safety factors for general public? So basically, you know, in the lines of construction, I'd like to kind of know what his method of procedure is gonna be written up so we can present it here. And then if anybody has any concerns or whatever, we could address it at that time. I think that'd probably be the best way to approach it.
I think those of us in the channel project would like that also, so
Yeah. Yeah.
we would have asked for that anyway.
Yeah.
And DNR approved that system?
DNR actually
Suggestion.
suggested it.
Suggested it?
Oh,
Yeah.
They thought Shorewood owned the total
2 acres?
up
Oh, I
there.
mean, the
The
whole
whole
acres?
field.
Yeah, they thought the whole field, and no, that was.
But when we told them it was 2 acres, they thought, you know, based on what they're estimating
Square
now
footage?
it's just a guess, of course, but what they're looking at, they don't see any reason why it wouldn't fit on a 2 acre lot.
Yeah, and it's not hazardous waste, it's dirt, it's basically dirt, so.
And that's my next question is, the DNR, correct me if I'm wrong, Sue, we have to have it tested to make sure there's no hazardous material in there before this goes through, correct?
That was not brought up.
No? Okay.
The silt fencing is, the purpose of that is because there is a chemistry that happens when that muck is
Sitting?
compacted, sitting, and that silt fencing is protecting that from going back in.
Okay, and I would imagine that silt fence is gonna be up there where the dump is, basically the waste dump, and then what protects against a hose blowing out,
Right.
you know, that type of thing. So I would guess, let's get a written method and procedure of what they're gonna do, and then let's bring it here, and, you know, quite frankly, it's, you know, if somebody has a complaint, it's gonna benefit Shorewood Park, period, so I don't know how that would be an issue.
And they really are only going to be doing the 15-foot width of the channels primarily.
So there's less material.
Less
Yeah.
material and more like spot
Yeah.
dredging around individual docks to meet the criteria of 3 to 4 feet of navigable water.
Perfect.
So some areas aren't going to need anything removed and others may need quite a bit of material removed.
Last
Have you guys thought?
summer, Dan Beans, Craig from the DNR, and Tony, our contractor, and I went out on a pontoon and we spot checked places along for the depth of the muck. And we have all that information available for the DNR. And they're right, there is spots in the channels that will not need as much dredged out as others, you know, which is not uncommon.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
And he felt that the west channel, perhaps only half of it could be hosed up to the field, and that lower half may need dewater bags on individual properties to contain,
And then you pick them and move them?
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm unclear on what that process involves. The contractor was looking into the cost of the bags and those kind of things
Okay.
for us.
So still a work in progress.
But the contractor will be demonstrating his process to DNR, not on anything in Shorewood. It will be some other project that he's working on, and he just needs to connect with DNR so they can go out, look at what he's done and everything, and take whatever photos or videos and stuff they need, and then take that back and say yay or nay on the process.
Yeah, when we first thought of the process being done and the muck blowing into the yards and keeping, you know, the thought was, oh, use it for fill, some people want it, and that's not allowable. Because of, once you move the silt fencing and, you know, a heavy rain comes and
Just goes right
brings
back in.
everything back in, so,
Well, that makes sense too.
yeah.
All right, with that, is there any other business?
Motion to adjourn?
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.